Hola. Welcome to Kristen Nicole Man TV. I am so grateful to be back with you today with a topic that I've been meaning to talk about. And so I don't know why my voice is like that. So, welcome. Again, my name is Kristen Nicole Mann, and I am the host of this channel, and I help all modern day women find their true authenticity through all things creativity. So, I want to talk a little bit about uh, childhood trauma, why we need to be healed from it, finding safe spaces, all of those things. And obviously, I'm going to lead with what is the controversy right now, which ties into what I'm about to talk about. So, um, recently, there has been chitter chatter about a particular pastor of a church. And I believe the church is in Houston or Texas. And this is a well-known pastor, I would say, within the church world. If you don't know about churches, you might not know who this is about. So I encourage you to go Google it, look it up. But how this ties in. So there was an incident where a member of the church was silenced in a public manner, and it was caught on camera, and they were watching this live, and it just spread like wildfire. And so since Sunday, people have been referring to this clip of him correcting this woman about how loud she was within worship. And so, if you are used to going to church, you know that during any type of praise or worship, there is sometimes people that are louder than others, to be quite frank. And you sometimes hear that and you're aware of that, and you're not aware of it in a sense of it's annoying. You're aware of it in a sense of, okay, everybody prays and worship in a different way. And so this clip is going viral because there's people that had a problem with how he did it and then corrected the woman. And then there's people that didn't have a problem with him correcting the woman the way that he did. Here's where finding peace and safe spaces go together with this, because I can see how this incident can trigger a lot of people, especially if they've had like church hurt, or they've dealt with people that lead in a sense of they don't take no mess type of personality. I can see how it can be a trigger to those folks, and I can see how it could be embarrassing for the member to be talked about over and over and over again. Although it was embarrassing, watching the clip back where of how loud she was, but someone pointed out when I was discussing it on my page, they pointed out the mic was closer to where she was at. So it gave like this exaggerated um yell or scream when it was really just the mic was closer to that particular woman. So it looked really um like she was really trying to disrupt the service, but it was just the mouth, not the mic was picking up the projecting. And so with that being said, he has recently went on Tamron Hall and explained his side of what happened, and I think it made people even more infuriated because he doubled down on what he did. And I don't necessarily agree with him speaking of the member as if like He's not grateful that she's been in the church, and then her being in a choir that explains, there's some connection deeper than just someone there in the audience. And to write what happened off as far as like how she could be feeling embarrassed, she could have all these other emotions and everything on public national TV. It's interesting emotions that cross my mind. I don't live off of emotions, but there's sometimes human nature, we have feelings about certain things. And my feelings, I'm gonna be honest, it felt like um it definitely looked like he was annoyed in that moment. Um Now it definitely didn't look like it was something new that he did. I don't see too many people bringing that up. He definitely felt comfortable, in that tone and manner, and it was like something that he's done before. That's my perspective. And so when you have these type of situations that come up in a place where people go to be safe, when people go to like be vulnerable, church is a place where you are like supposed to express yourself in a certain manner. And I get you wanted the moment to be quiet, everybody be quiet, but at the same time, the mics could have been cut off. Your mic could have just been on. She could have been escorted off the stage. We just don't know. But at the same time, if you have grew up in church, you know that this incident could have went a little bit differently. And he kind of had this demeanor on Tamron Hall, like, I said what I said, I did what I did. And I actually felt bad for the woman after they appeared on Tamron Hall, because I'm like, okay, he's like still not, for someone to come or preach about or teach about emotional intelligence and all the, like things like that. I just was surprised at his response to all this, and how there wasn't a remorse. It was very cold, very cold. So, with finding peace and safe spaces, that woman probably is not considering this no longer as a safe space. And I really want to talk about honing in on what your safe space looks like, because the dynamics have changed. There's been a paradigm shift. Let's not sit here and act like it's not a new world. A lot of us have, hit a brick wall with trying to find, places that maybe we used to can be comfortable in, and people we used to be comfortable with, and that has changed now. And I want people to understand that you have options on finding safe spaces and finding your peace. But the old world that was prior to, I want to even say prior to pandemic, it was like everyone was set in a certain routine. They had their person or people that they go to talk to about certain things. They had their spaces like the churches. They wasn't never gonna leave. It was a routine of a so-called flow. Then the pandemic came, and it's like everything stopped. Then after that, I text you. I said, then after that, you had a a space where it was like a gray space, and nobody kind of knew exactly where they wanted to be. So it's almost like you're a baby walking all over again, and you don't know where you want to go, what you want to do, who you want to be. So it's important that in this new time, you figure that out, to where you're not going back into what you left. And with the childhood trauma, that was a thing, a era where everyone was like, your inner childhood, your inner childhood, your inner child, do this, do that. Look, coach, I'm coaching you. I'm doing, and it gets to the point where you have to live healed. You have to live after the childhood trauma. You have to pick up your things and like pick up your mat, I call it, and move on. And you can continue to lick the wounds that you have, or you can choose to move on. In this era, it's a decision, like a cutthroat decision. It's not in between. And I was watching a woman earlier, Coach Jai or Jay, and I follow her on Facebook, and I mean, she went live today, and it just broke it all the way down. I'll tag the video. She broke it all the way down, and she explained how we were stuck in this like childhood trauma that we had to the point where we weren't moving forward. And it's like now we need to move forward. And who's to say um this woman that had this incident with this pastor, maybe that was her sign to move on and maybe seek something different. Because if he corrected her and hushed her in that way, and he said that she's been going there for 4 years and they've already talked to her and they've already had all these things done to speak with her about her wailing. Maybe that's, as the woman, she has to realize this is not working. This space is not working for me. It's not helping the wounds that I have. It's not bettering my praise and worship to where I'm praising with joy. Because I don't want to say you're always going to praise in the same way, but the way that she was hollering, it didn't sound like a healed space. It was like, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I need God to do something right now. Um, like she was in need. And so when you have that and someone just like, silence you, there's it's different. That could be a problem. And I hope that she takes this situation and really assess what is going on and look at it and say, okay, is this a safe space for me? And we're going to have to also find um, things outside of traditional spaces that we used to go to, or we used to feel comfortable in order to have that safe space. It's gonna have to be unconventional. Your safe space now, it used to be maybe the church. Now it may be at the community center with all different kinds of people, because you don't have to feel guilty about not being at church 24/7. You can go to other spaces and shine that light that you're supposed to shine and be okay. You don't have to take on what everybody else does, but it's about being in the mix. Because what I used to think is like everything has to be housed under um between church and work. Now that the pandemic happened, it shook a lot of stuff up. It made a lot of people find new people. It made a lot of people fall out with old people. Um, you had this awakening. That's really what has happened. A lot of people have awakened to, okay, this is not working. This whole life of mine's, the way that it's set up is not working for where I'm trying to go. And so when you have leaders like the particular pastor that I'm speaking of, you have to question, are they capable of being this in this time frame where people are going through different things? I mean, it's inflation, there's a lot of single mothers, family dynamic is jacked up. You can't really depend on your job like you used to. So there's questions. I'm like, 4 years. 4 years. So I hope this helps you critically think about, where are your safe spaces? Where do you go? Who do you talk to? If you had an incident like this happen to you, what would you do? What would your advice be to someone you may know that had went through this, and they may come to you like, I'm hurt. These are just things. So hope this helps. I hope you all have had a great day, and I'm looking forward to getting back on and speaking about some more things. And look out for some workshops, some amazing things, because now we have to move past a lot of things that we were stuck on. And we're not going to do that unless we make a decision. So, have a good night. I'll see you later.